with talks of potential buyers for WWE and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Touching on his injury and his return timetable, Johnny Gargano noted on WWE's The Bump, "I tweeted out that I injured my shoulder at a live event in Toronto, which is ironic because that's where I came back in Toronto and that's where I injured my shoulder. I got rammed into these steel steps and I sprained my AC joint. Doctors say originally about 5 to 6 weeks. I'm going to do everything in my power to cut that time down. That's the most transparent I can be there. We're going to see what can happen, and I'm going to work very hard to come back as soon as possible because there's a lot of things that I still want to accomplish, a lot of things I still want to do. I'm far from happy with how things have gone for me recently, and I want to right those wrongs and show everyone out there who believes in me what Johnny Wrestling is truly capable of doing." Speaking about who she wants to induct her into the WWE Hall of Fame, Mickie James said on Reffin' It Up, "I think for WWE, it has to be Trish Stratus. I think if there was no Trish Stratus, if it wasn't that opportunity for my first run of how I was introduced to the WWE audience with Trish and the Magic, like people wouldn't have cared 20 years later. It really set the stage. I just think back to all the times I was supposed to debut before that and it didn't happen. And what a blessing in disguise it was, and I didn't see it then. But I think that it would be her for WWE." Talking about her role as a producer for WWE, Molly Holly told High Spots, "So I do look at it, role as a producer, as I'm the eyes of the casual fan. I'm the person who flips through every now and then to watch, so whenever I'm helping with the show, I try to say, okay, we don't want to just cater it to the pocket of people who are super fans and devoted to every week. If someone's flipping through the channels, maybe for the first time, I want to capture their attention and make them first-time fans. Make them lifelong fans from just this very first time seeing the show. So that is something that I think I bring from a casual fan or occasional fan perspective." Reviewing Monday Night Raw for this week, former WWE referee Jimmy Korderas criticized WWE in his latest Reffin' Rant. Here's the video.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think they took a night off. Everybody that worked Monday Night Raw worked very hard. They, got into their characters. We saw more storyline developments and that sort of thing. But it also felt like WWE didn't put their best foot forward in presenting a show that kept you on the edge of your seat for most of the night. It did at times. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of good stuff on there, but at the same time, it felt like they took it easy because of what was going on elsewhere in another channel, i.e. the National Championship game where Georgia just destroyed TCU. But anyways, I think in situations like this, you have to put your best foot forward and do your absolute best, even against stiff competition.
Speaking of Raw from this week, it seems there were plans for the show that ended up being scrapped, as Fightful reported. Akira Tozawa at one point was planned to accompany Street Profits to the ring. Original scripts called for the Usos to be ringside with Solo Sikoa. Talking about a return to New Japan for the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson told Sports Illustrated, "We were actually asked to wrestle and be in Kenny's corner, but Matt and I had vacation plans that week. Maybe next year, who knows? We got a fantastic offer. Personally, the timing and the situation didn't fit for us. I'm sure one day you'll see us back in a NJPW ring." For the New York Times, Dan Brooks revealed that AEW star Danhausen told him about potentially making the jump to WWE in the future. He told me he had no interest in signing with WWE, the logical next step in any wrestler's career, because he felt AEW was better suited to his act. That was, of course, the correct thing to say, but it also seemed true. For him, AEW is not the minor league, so much as a place where Danhausen can be Danhausen, in front of an audience who appreciates what he is doing. AEW President Tony Khan also featured in this article where he said, "I like to take people's presentations reputation once it's gotten over, once it's gotten popular and been accepted. If you find people that have gotten over with a smaller hardcore audience, often if you give them a little chance on national television, the hardcore audience will vouch for them. With AEW bringing in Jeff Jarrett to manage upcoming live events in the future, Tony Khan said this about running house shows with In the Zone. Well, it's a great question. Yeah, I have. That's something we're talking about. We have a great live events team with Raphael Morphy, Chris Harrington, and a bunch of great people I work with. Now, Jeff Jarrett has come in. It's something we've talked a lot about in building out the live event business. There is definitely a lot of demand for AEW live events. And now we have this big, great, strong roster that wants to do these live events. So I think that is something we're going to do. Touching on Vince McMahon returning to the WWE Board of Directors, as he is now once again the chairman, Jim Ross gave advice to talent in the company, saying on his podcast, "It's going to be interesting days ahead for them, and I'm sure that the guys that work there are wondering what the hell's going on. My advice to them is just do your job. Come to work on time. Don't be a problem child. Don't be a baby. Be willing to go along with things to see how it's going to work out," and that's kind of where I see that whole scenario coming. With him announcing his departure from the company, WWE announcer Sidhu Shah wrote on Twitter, "Yesterday was my final day with WWE. What an incredible experience working with some of the most talented people I've ever met. Thank you to everyone who watched and supported every week." Given all the talk of Vince McMahon returning to sell WWE this year, PW Insider noted that those that own AEW could afford WWE. First, if Vince is selling for many billions of dollars, he gives up power over how WWE would be used going forward. At least he should in any deal done by a competent lawyer. In exchange for money, he gives up control of the legacy. He can hope it carries on, but once he sells, he gives up complete control unless he finds a rube to buy it. I am sure that the Khans could put together the money to buy it if they wanted to, but it will be very expensive, and as mentioned above, if the TV rights deals change for the worse, it's a bad investment. WWE's revenue has become very, very dependent on rights fees. On the Buzzcast podcast, Matthew Bellany touched on the possibility of Endeavor, who owns the UFC, making the move to purchase WWE. As much as it's a valuable media property, it is still considered a second-tier property in the sense that there are advertisers that still will not advertise on WWE. There is a little bit of a radioactivity around it, much as there was with the UFC. On his podcast, Dax Harwood confirmed that FTR will be taking time off from AEW as their contracts are set to expire in April. I also had the blessing of Tony Khan to talk about this and make a statement about this. Tony has been nothing but top-notch to me and Cash since day one. There are things that we haven't agreed on as any boss and any employee, even any friend. There are times that I felt the boat was missed on opportunities for us. There were times that I was super happy with everything we were doing. There has come a time where we are on the tail end of our career. Right now, at this point in our career, is the most important time in our career. I mean that monetarily, creatively, and personally. It is the most important time in our career. With that being said, we have asked and been granted the next few months off of television so we can sit back, reflect, decide, let our bodies heal, and figure out what we're going to do for the next few years. Whatever we decide to do next will be the absolute last thing we do as far as wrestling. As he previously left AEW to rejoin WWE, it seems William Regal has a new title in the company, with it reported that PWInsider.com has confirmed that William Regal's official title for his new role in WWE is Vice President of Global Talent Development. When it comes to a potential buyer for WWE, it appears The Rock is not likely to be one. As PW Insider reported, he would need a lot of partners and or financing, and honestly, I don't think he would want to make the move. As mentioned above, the lion's share of WWE's revenue comes from TV rights. If the market changes drastically and the partners change what they are willing to pay for WWE, the company's value changes drastically. Since it will cost billions to buy WWE, that kind of downturn could be catastrophic for a non-content providing investor. With all the rumors of a potential sale of WWE to Saudi Arabia, this has some worried about what could come of this, as Fightful reported. A prevailing fear is that Vince McMahon will try to work his way back into creative with a sale, and Saudis being the only entity that would possibly allow that to happen. In another update on Saudi Arabia potentially buying WWE, the Wrestling Observer noted that they're not sold. Saudi Arabia is in the hunt. They're one of the companies, one of the places that's looking for it. Several media companies, the names are out there, are all in the hunt. It would be added that they're looking to sell by the middle of the year. JP Morgan is helping them. Saudi would be the one where they would actually, I think you see only one key people as far as the thing that they want to go private. That would be the one. The other ones are all public companies. Endeavor obviously is also in the hunt. There is definitely smoke to the Saudi Arabia story, but it's too early for the deal to be finalized. When it comes to how much the son of WWE Chairman Vince McMahon made, it was noted in the company's SEC filings that in 2022, Shane McMahon was retained as an independent contract performer by the company and received an aggregate of approximately $828,000 in connection with such services. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.